I don't mean to beat a dead horse. I don't mean to beat a dead horse at all. But goddamn it, I'm going to beat this dead horse. The Trump-Russia collusion thing. It's not that I have all this love for Donald Trump. I've done multiple videos, and you know I'm pretty derisive when it comes to Donald Trump. I think he's a horrible fucking person. And not just thinking he's a horrible person, it is very possible that there are illegalities within the standpoint of Trump and Russia from the standpoint of business ties. But a business tie is a little bit different than the narrative that they were pushing forth that Trump was somehow working with Vladimir Putin, and Vladimir Putin put him on his back and carrying him across the finish line. That I find to be nonsense. It is a conspiracy theory. There is not a link between those two things, even though people continuously say there is a link between those two things. Michael Isikoff, journalist, author, wrote the book called Russian Roulette. I distinctly remember an interview between him and Aaron Matei where he seems to be on board for the Russia collusion story. Not anymore. Not anymore. Take a look at this. So this is an interview between Michael Isikoff and John Ziegler. Extensive interview with Russian Roulette co-author Isikoff reveals big problems with the collusion theory. I'm not going to keep this one long because I did the other video, but right here. Let's start here. By the end of the interview, which actually begins with a look at his large role in the recent Amazon AE miniseries Clinton Affair about Bill Clinton's impeachment, it was quite clear that against the grain of the rest of the media horde, Isikoff is now leaning rather clearly against the idea that Mueller is likely to claim a criminal collusion between the Trump campaign and Russia. As a result of his highly reasoned, thoroughly admitted circumstantial argument, though admittedly circumstantial argument, he now has me inclined to be more decidedly in that direction as well. Isikoff concluded that a portion of our interview by declaring seemingly against his own self-interest, because he wrote the book called Russian Roulette. So this is against his own interests. All signs to me that Mueller is reaching the end of his game, his end game, and we may see less than what people want him to find. There seems to be at least 4 basic reasons Isikoff is coming to this technical conclusion where this is all going. The infamous Steele dossier, while largely vindicated in the big picture, has not been proven to be true with regard to several important details. One of which is the so-called P-tape, which, just as I wrote when Isikoff's book came out, his reporting may have uncovered information which explain how the story could have easily become an urban legend. That's amazing. You said that the person had a bed that got a hooker to pee on the bed because they hated Obama so much. Now that was explosive, and it was done purely to just make Trump look bad. The media ran with it. There was nothing to substantiate that. They ran with it. It was a conspiracy theory, and they gave it all the credence as if it was a real story. The dossier also alleges that Michael Cohen went to Prague to help coordinate the collusion, but Isikoff notes that there is absolutely no indication that his plea deal that he admitted to lying about the trip in his congressional testimony, which would have been a huge deal. Third, Isikoff agrees with my assessment that the Michael Flynn sentencing recommendation of no jail time makes absolutely no sense if he was a central figure in collusion, which seemingly, especially given his lawyer, a very confrontational filing at the end of past week. And last, Isikoff notes that the plea deal for the admitted Russian spy, quote-unquote spy, Maria Butina, was rather underwhelming. As had been widely speculated, she had taken part in a Russian funding the Trump campaign through the NRA, which would likely have been the largest campaign finance violation in our history. But that is a little different than Russia-Trump collusion. None of these things point to Russia-Trump collusion. All of the stuff that they've been catching people for was ancillary. The main central premise was that Trump worked with Vladimir Putin in order to cheat Hillary Clinton out of her electoral victory. None of that has been demonstrated. They found people on other things, be it Manafort, Cohen, or Flynn. But the central premise, the central original thesis, not so much. This has been a Trojan horse to create a slow bleed without a reality being associated with it. So I'm going to end this here because I had the other video going over something similar. But Michael Isikoff, welcome to the family. If you look at his interview with Aaron Maté, he did not seem, he seemed far more in this camp of Trump-Russia collusion. And not to mention, the guy wrote the book called Russian Roulette, looking in Russia, the role Russia played in supposedly the election. You were late to the party, but welcome to the club. I'm sure Aaron Maté is going to appreciate hearing this. So I'll leave it here. All right, guys. If you enjoy the content, please feel free to share, like, subscribe. You can always support through PayPal or Patreon. I have bacon on the stove and it smells like it's burning, so I'm going to end this here. Thanks all.